Broadcasting from Hollywood, California, it's Grant's Rants, Hollywood Talk.
On this 5th anniversary special episode, I have recruited 5 guests and double the Hollywood Talk. Choose your own adventure. In part 1, Erin Martin and I give up on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Granny June weighs in on 90 Day Fiancé. In part 2, we're joined by James Lott Jr. to rant about Big Brother All-Stars. And Jay Ellis talks Dorinda Medley's firing and the rise of K-pop. In part 3, Jay and I react to Bella Thorne blowing up OnlyFans. And then Christy Olson and I break down MTV's VMAs. Let's get started. Let the ranting begin. We're kicking off this special episode with one of my favorites, Erin Martin from the podcast Pink Shade. Welcome back to the Rants.
Thank you, Grann. I'm so happy for you. Happy 5 years.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. Yes, it's been quite a journey and I have been able to meet so many people. And that's why I wanted to really have 5 different people on the show. In no particular order or anything, but just people that I've really, I've met through the podcast. You represent really the podcast community, that has embraced me and that I love and respect so much. And I wanted to feature you on this special episode for sure.
Thank you so much. You do that for me too. I mean, remember, I came on your podcast before I even had started one. I was writing for reality T back then. We just like to talk about this stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Oh my God. Yeah.
It's been a while.
I mean, it's evolved. I don't know what else to do about it. I was going to update the logo, because I'm tired of people thinking I'm an old fat man. I was going to actually put a picture of myself on it. But it just didn't work. It didn't work. You know, this is pre-nose job. I got a quarantine haircut going. It just didn't work.
Oh my God. It was so funny because Mary Payne and I just redid our logo since we joined forces for Pink Shade.
Right.
And it's like a whole stressful thing. You're like, okay, wait, do we want this? Do we want this? Do we want our faces? Do we not want our face? I mean, talk about an existential crisis that you do not need in 2020. You do not need to be having another crisis. So just let the logo go. Just let it go.
Yeah, for now, until further notice, people are just going to have to trust and believe that I am 31 years old, and that's it.
That's right. We've met in person. I can vouch for this.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Let's talk about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Why? Because I've tried to avoid this topic. We've now reached the point of the finale. And I think I wrote here a failure of a season. However, I do have something positive to say about it. We'll get into it. It's not going to be all hate, but people just love the show. They're calling them queens. They can't get over it. The ratings are great. The show has been in the top 10 TV shows. It's within like the top 5 of anything, or even sometimes number 1 that's considered not news, not sports. I mean, I must be watching the wrong show.
You know, I was just talking about this to Brandon Alvarado this week, who I think you've talked to before too. And he is like loving this season, even though it's a mess. He's very entertained. I was very entertained up to the point where it just became the grinding down of Denise, which, you know, started way back when, but really it was solely focused on that for the past month at least. And it has exhausted me in a way that, ironically, New York is not exhausting me this season, but the feedback I'm hearing from so many viewers is that they are completely exhausted by New York. So I'm having like the opposite reaction.
I'm hearing the same thing. Yeah.
It's like, I think it's the energy you bring to it. Like, I kind of like frantic, crazy, get over it right away, move on to something else. Like, I don't mind that there's no real big storyline in New York because they're just funny to me, even when they're just a hot mess. But Beverly Hills, man, they dig into one story and they do not let it go, and they're not funny or fun enough to give me what I need besides that.
Well, here's the difference, in my point of view. The women of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills take themselves so seriously and put themselves on the highest pedestal. I mean, name one of them. Erica, who's terrible. Rinna, who's worse. Kyle, who's been at the top from the beginning, according to her own self. So, Teddy, who's there's a short pedestal, but she's on it. I just don't get it. Now, when you look at New York, it's like, Lou definitely takes herself seriously, but I feel like the others, like Sonia is just kind of like, she knows where she stands in the world. You know what I mean? I can take it.
I agree.
I can join
Ramona
in.
is like, Ramona walks around in her robe half the time, and it's not even part of the episode that we even talk about later. This is how crazy they are. Can you imagine anyone on Beverly Hills just walking around just shitting themselves constantly and moving on with their life? Never.
Well, I just don't know. I put this on Twitter. Like, when did this show, The Beverly Hills Housewives, when did it become about really trying to destroy each other, really trying to malign someone's character and attack their family? Even Denise even went and said this season, they're trying to destroy my family. I mean, and now we all have to sit around a reunion on Zoom and laugh about the fun times that nobody had. Like, I just think it's really mean, very mean. It's easy to say a bunch of mean girls, but I think this is a classic case of mean girls.
It really is. I mean, I can't imagine being in that group and being anything but terrified. Like, terrified. And because they're smiling at you and they're plotting your destruction. And if they're not plotting your destruction, that means you're on the other side and you're plotting someone else's. Either way, the karma is like really bad all around. I mean, they really go for the jugular. And it's okay, but it's also over nothing. It's over nothingness.
Oh, absolutely nothing.
It's never about anything that deep.
Even Giselle said it from Potomac Housewives. She said they argue over literally nothing, like zero, whereas we couldn't get away with that if our life depended on it. And then you go and you look at the ratings, and Potomac is not even crossing that million viewer mark in live anyway.
Still,
man. I mean, they're close.
They're so good.
They're close.
They're so good.
But yet you've got this show that's pulling in like a 1.6, and there's no storyline. So, numbers do not account for taste. I don't know.
They do not. I mean, okay, they did have a fabulous trip, even though they were all just total bitches on it. I mean, I like that they showed Rome. I like their crazy over-the-top fashion, Dorit with her new money and her labels everywhere. There are some things that when you watch Beverly Hills, you don't get that on any other franchise. So I kind of get that draw because I enjoy it too. Mm-hmm. It's the original reason a lot of us loved Bravo. We were seeing a slice of life that we'd never seen before. But now we've seen so much of it, we do need more of a story. And we need them to stop ganging up like they're 13 years old.
Yeah.
You just don't even have energy for it at a certain age. Like, I'm in my 40s. I do not have the energy to do something like that.
No.
I don't even know how they do it.
And here's the thing. I love to feel validated by certain things. And over the years on this podcast, like stuff that has come out about The View and Ellen and how these shows are produced, specifically reality TV. Like, I'm like, yes, this is all stuff that like I've known forever. That's finally out there. And so this season on Beverly Hills was really no different when we got to see the producers break the fourth wall. And we got to see what I know from working in reality TV, that manipulation, that pushing, that like, that wasn't right. You should do something about it. You don't get to do that. You're not allowed to do that. And we got to see some of that. And so I don't even know if I can hold the women, and some of them I will, and I do, but I don't even know how much I can hold them accountable when they have a producer constantly in their ear telling them, here's how this works. I think it's too heavy-handed.
I want to ask you seriously, what do you think about the choice that the producers made, especially in that one moment with Garcelle last week, where he was kind of egging her on? He's like, well, Denise didn't even text you and you've been the one going to bat for her. And she's like, yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I know, right? I mean, why do you think they chose to show that? That seems like really strange that they decided to show that moment of all moments.
I'm really surprised they did. I think it's because they're reaching kind of like the bottom here as far as like believability goes. And I mean, this isn't this isn't even a slam. I mean, I just think it's like, how much are we going to do? Like, we've heard this in the past. Somebody texted me last night and let me know, or I got an email, and it's like all these like these random like third party interlopers, like So I'm not surprised. So yeah, no, I think at this point, like, people are smart. They know it's production, and I think adding that breaking the fourth wall element is kind of the last uncharted territory these shows can go, and I think they're going to have to do it.
Yeah, and I enjoy it, actually. I like seeing that, but it was just interesting that was the moment they chose, because I'm like, that makes them look bad and makes the women look more sane. You know what I mean?
It's
I'm
true.
like, why would they do that? Because their whole point of this show is to make the women look as insane as possible, which, believe me, they do to themselves as well.
Well, the Evolution shows, OC and Beverly Hills, that's the production company for those who aren't familiar. I'm very critical of that production company for being lazy, but also for producing, not really gripping TV. I'm just going to say it. And so I feel validated in this moment when I'm seeing them and they're pushing these people, and it makes me question my dislike for some of the women because they are doing a job, and it's being poorly produced, and they're having to be turned into production puppets, much like Lisa Rinna, who, by the way, I do not feel bad for at all. She sold her soul to be on the show. You can still play the game and do the job right and not look like an awful garbage person. And I am saying this from love because I loved her initially. Soap Talk, I watched her on all these shows. I thought she was great, but she sold her soul, and I can't respect it.
She really did sell her soul. I still think she's entertaining, though. She is so far out there. She's such a soap actress. I mean, that moment with Denise when she's like, "Oh, you're angry." I was like, look at this moment.
She buys everything she sells. I will say
everything she sells.
Commits.
Yep, she's hustling. She's a hustler. She's a hustler on this show too. And I'm not saying she's a good person because of it, but to me, she's still entertaining. She hasn't reached Vicky level of like unwatchable for me yet.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel. I just because I don't like her. Like, I don't like any of them. So this just isn't my show. It just isn't my show. So like, I don't know. I still have a feeling towards Vicky, but that ship has really sailed. So. I don't even know if I can compare the two myself, but what I will say, my final thought on Beverly Hills, before they rip each other apart of this reunion, which I don't even know if I need to see, but I will say the ratings prove that we don't need Lisa Vanderpump on this show for it to succeed. So, again, I stand corrected.
That's right. And the storyline proves that we don't need Lisa Vanderpump to leak things to Page Six or the press or Vanity Fair or Daily Mail.
There you go. Imagine
Kyle.
that. Imagine
allegedly.
That. Any other final thoughts before we move on?
Well, I mean, I'm looking forward to the Zoom reunion just to see these people yell at each other with glitches, when it like stops and starts again. And just for them to live in our podcasting world every day is kind of fun for me.
Yeah. I'll be looking forward to the in-person New York reunion more than anything. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know. I wonder if they'll fire anyone. I don't think Bravo is in the place to make any major changes with this show. It does perform really well. Bravo in general, I think, is having an identity crisis with where to go next. So I think they're going to leave this show alone. So I have low expectations for what's next. But
I agree. It's always good to have low expectations with reality TV. Then you're always surprised and kind of entertained.
When am I going to learn that? I've been doing this for 5 years. When am I going to learn this, to not expect anything out of these shows?
2020. 2020 is the year that we lower all of our expectations across the board.
Yeah, dirt low from here on out.
Below dirt level.
Erin, I love you for coming on. Thank you for celebrating 5 years with me.
Love you. Happy 5 years, Grant.
Thank you. The ranting continues. I am joined by Granny June Flori calling in over Skype on this 5-year anniversary special episode. Welcome, Granny. Welcome back.
Oh, hi, everybody. Glad to be back. Even with this virus, I'm still here.
Can you believe that you actually tied with Fern RHONY for our most guested guest on the podcast?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so happy. Yeah. I'm glad about that.
Yeah, I mean, people ask for you all the time. Here she is. She's on the podcast. And you started from episode number 5. And,
wow.
Now we're 164 deep. So you're a big part of the show. I had to have you on for the special episode.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad to be here. I have a new addition to my family, though. I have a nice little dog now named Millie, and she's a really beautiful little dog and a lot of company. Very cute, very well behaved.
Good. Yeah, that's, I want to make that little update for the people wondering what was going on in your life. I'm glad. Now, we were going to talk about, at some point, the New York City Housewives, but I know that you have since no longer decided to watch the show, and you're not alone. People have dropped the show, and they're not so into it, so I wanted to just, get your quick thought on that.
I couldn't make heads or tails out of them. I mean, each one of them talked over each other. I couldn't understand what any of them was saying.
And they're all so drunk. They're so damn drunk on the show.
Yeah, and I mean, it really went kind of far. I mean, jumping in the water naked and all that stuff. I mean, come on. I mean, that's really going a little bit too much.
Yeah.
And, and that, whatever her name was, they're picking on that other girl so much for nothing at all. It was silly, stupid.
Yeah, Dorinda and Tinsley.
Yeah, it was really silly. I really couldn't waste my time looking at it any longer. But I am into that 90-Day Fiancé. That I get kind of a kick out of. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm watching The Other Way right now, and I'm watching the Happily Ever After show. But this show is too long. I can't, they're asking 3 hours just for those two shows alone. And then they've got all these spin-offs. It's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much of one thing. Like, I appreciate a good show. I like the show, but it's too much of one thing. I can't invest that much in one show. Yeah,
but it's the same people over and over again. It's nothing new.
Yeah.
To me, it's nothing new.
Well, I will say, as far as nothing new, looking at that Angela and Michael, now they're on this Happily Ever After. They've been around forever. You know what I'm talking about? I can't stand her. She's always yelling, screaming, threatening. I feel personally like accosted sometimes by her. She's too intense. I don't need her on my screen every week. Can they give her a break, please?
I know. Yeah. Well, they've been going over and over with that Darcy and Tom. I mean, that's been over for weeks and months, and they're still talking about it and showing parts of it and talking to him in England and her wherever she lives in Connecticut or somewhere. I mean, it's crazy. It's over and done with. Don't keep bringing it up and bringing it up. It gets sickening after a while.
I think it was all done for the cameras anyway. I don't even think it was ever a real thing. So the fact that they're still getting mileage out of this fake relationship.
Yeah, that's it. They're still getting mileage out of all these fake relationships. It's stupid.
It's true. Yeah. I'm glad you feel the same way because, I watch it, but it's stupid. It is. I mean, enough is enough, and I can't be bothered. Darcy and her sister have a spinoff. Count me way out. I will absolutely not be watching any spinoff with her.
No, I haven't bothered to look at that. I've had enough of Darcy with her bazooms hanging out.
Yeah, the plastic surgery is too much.
Yeah.
Now, So this season on 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way, there's just a handful of couples I wanted to shout out, and we'll both give our point of view on these people. I really like this Brittany character. Brittany and Yazan, she's from Miami, he's from Jordan, and we're supposed to believe that this young girl wants to move to Jordan and give up all her freedoms. I think she's only doing it to be on reality TV, but she's delivering good TV, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, she's trying to, he's trying to make her fit into his culture. And she really doesn't want to. She's trying to make him realize that she's always going to be independent and she's not going to be going into his culture. But he can't seem to understand that.
Yeah, I think she wants to maintain being an American and live as an American. He can't understand that. And he got a lot of pressure from his parents. And what's interesting is I believe that the two of them have totally hooked up. He's not as saintly as he appears, but he knows that his parents are going to watch the show. So he has to act like this pious being. But I think the two of them are probably two freaks.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, with all of these couples, all of the men that come from these foreign countries, they're all tangled, really with their parents, mostly the mothers. The mothers seem to rule the roost. If they don't approve of what the son is doing, forget it.
That's actually true, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane.
I can think of 6 examples off the top of my head. I mean, yeah, you're right.
I mean, the mothers rule the roost. They have to please the mother. They have to bring them gifts and kowtow to them. These women must be insane to be bothered to do that. They're leaving America where they can do what they want to go and kowtow to somebody's mother in Ethiopia or wherever.
Nigeria. Yeah.
Yeah, Nigeria. Yeah, I mean, it's really insane. It's crazy.
Yeah.
They got to be nuts. Either that or they have to be desperate.
Yeah, I think that this girl, Britney, this is her way of getting onto reality TV. She can sell her music. I don't think she has any future with him. But, I mean, they were fighting for the minute they landed in the airport. I mean, I it's great TV, but I think she's playing everybody.
Isn't she the one that posed in the bathing suit or something?
Yes.
Yeah, my God. Boy, I'll tell you. She really, I mean, had quite a back to show in that bathing suit. I mean,
her whole ass
her bottom was she had a big bottom. She wasn't small by any means. Well, she shouldn't be wearing that kind of a bathing suit to begin with.
Well, they pay good money for a butt that size. So I mean,
yeah, probably, yeah.
Now
I don't know what it is with these butts and bazooms. It's really ridiculous today. They're way out with these butts and bazooms. A guy today doesn't know what he's getting. He doesn't know if it's real or not. Most of the time today, it's not real, including the face. Nothing's real.
True. I mean, again, this girl is come from Miami, so I'm not too shocked. But he's got to know what he had coming to him. That whole relationship is weird, to say the very least. But let's talk about there's two men, Kenneth and Armando, and it's nice to see. This is my point of view, but it's nice to see like just a regular couple that they just happen to be two gay men. No one has to have they did have a coming out storyline, which I thought I hate those. I'm so tired of those because that's not what gay relationships are. But overall, they seem like regular guys. I like watching them. However, I did dub them the crying gays because in the early part of the season, all they did was cry and like ugly cry, like deep, like gut emotional crying. And it's lightened up a little bit. But I like them. I'm rooting for them.
That Armando, he seems as though he's trying very hard to please Ken. Mm-hmm. But Ken seems like a very hard person to please. He's very, very particular about everything. He doesn't like the food. He couldn't go into the bathroom. He couldn't do that.
I couldn't have done that either.
He's very particular. And I don't think it's going to work because he doesn't like living in Mexico. And they both went to Mexico to meet there and live there. And I don't think he likes it. He's very, very particular. Yeah. And that Armando is a little bit nervous because he can see that he's not pleasing Ken the way he's trying to. But Ken seems hard to please. I think it's more than what Ken, expected.
Yeah.
I think he expected things to be a little easier, but they're not. So we're going to see if he sticks it out. I don't know. I have my doubts. I think he's going to end up going back to his family because he had such a crying spell when he left them. Holy mackerel.
Yeah, I know. I know. I think that they could they should live in a city, first of all. I don't know why they're not in a major city because they're out in the middle of nowhere. They're getting called derogatory things, which is not right. But you set yourself up for that when you are in these places that are just not that progressive. I don't know what to say. It's not right, but that's what happens. So I don't know where they're staying, but they should try to go into a city. But I think ultimately, they will stay together, but I don't think that they're going to reside in Mexico. I have a feeling they're going to try to come to the States and stay somewhere halfway between Mexico and Florida. I don't know, whatever, but maybe somewhere in Texas or Arizona. But I don't see that guy Ken sticking around in Mexico.
No, because first of all, he has to depend on Armando to say everything because he doesn't know the language.
Right.
And that bothers him. And, so Armando makes all the decisions because he's the one that speaks the language. So I don't know. I feel as though it's not going to last. Ken is very picky about things, and I can't blame him in a way. I mean,
did you see that bathroom? Oh
God, the bathrooms in these episodes from the different countries are absolutely
That's true. Especially on the other way. Because we saw it with the other couple, the Ariel or whoever, I believe that was her name, who was pregnant. Like, she had the two bathrooms that were unusable. Like, that's true. I mean, and I don't need to say anything about bathrooms.
Oh, God, it's enough to make me want to throw up. I wouldn't be able to go in there and just pass gas. Never mind do anything.
No. Oh, everything closes up when you go in those types of places.
Oh, God, yeah. I'd be constipated for weeks.
Yeah. No, really, no one could get the urge in some of these places. Let's look at Devin and Jihoon. Jihoon is the biggest idiot, and I don't know why this Devin is continuing to give him a shot. I will give her credit, though, because, he's the father of her child. She's trying, but she's wasting her time. She's from, I believe, Washington, and he's from Korea. They're in Korea now. I give her credit. What do you think? Do you have any advice for someone like Devin?
Yeah, go home.
Yeah, that's accurate.
First of all, Jihoon, he's like a child. And, he's another one who is so attached to his mother. And, I mean, she's very concerned about him and the marriage. And, of course, she's got a daughter. And he is not responsible, really, for her daughter. And he can't be, because he's not that kind of a person that would be that responsible for her. And then she's got another baby. I don't think that he is capable. I mean, he cries like a baby when he feels as though he's done something wrong.
Yeah.
What kind of a man is that?
She gave him a shot. He blew it multiple times. I don't think she owes him anything else. So
no.
She's wasting her time. I mean, I don't know why the hell she would want to stay over there anyway without any family. I mean, she doesn't get along with his family. He's of no help. Oh, no. Give up.
Yeah. No. Well, she's wasting her time with him.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little underwhelmed by these current seasons that are airing right now. I'm not really wowed by anybody on them, unfortunately. They're okay, but I'm not as gripped as I used to be. So, I don't know how much longer they're going to air, but I'm kind of ready for what's next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm looking for something new to come about. Some new couples, maybe.
Yeah.
Because all the ones from the past, I mean, that Sumi and that other one there. She's been waiting to marry him for how long?
I know.
And the divorce is going to take years before. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
And then he can marry somebody else, too, if he wants to. She's crazy. She's wasting her time.
Totally.
Yeah.
I like her, but I'm rooting for her, but I think she's also wasting her time. Well, That brings us to the end, but thank you for coming on and sharing your point of view. I'm sure you made many people happy.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I hope everybody is safe and nobody has gotten the virus, and I hope that this passes soon and we get a vaccine so we can get back to normal living.
Yes, amen to that. Thanks, Granny. Stay with us when the ranting continues. We're going to be talking all about this season's Big Brother All-Stars, Dorinda's firing, and a bit of pop music.